What are some of your non-negotiables in the first hour of the day?
So for me, the phone is top of the list, and I'm not saying it's easy, but I have an analog clock. I don't have to rely on it too much. It's funny when you set the intention to wake up. Have you ever done that, saying I need to be up at this time, and you actually wake up like a minute or two?
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done it. I don't do it regularly, but I've done that.
It's interesting when you put your complete faith and trust and belief that it's like when we teach people a process of lucid dreaming, like how to be aware of their dreams and also start controlling their dreams so we could turn them into like little learning opportunities. We did a whole episode on 6 steps on how to remember your dreams, because people don't realize this, and I'll go to the morning non-negotiables.
I want to talk about dreams for sure. So,
yeah, it's one of those things where people don't realize that when you're learning all day as a student, or you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to solve problems, your brain doesn't shut off at night. If anything, it's more active at night, and it's consolidating short to long-term memory. It's cleaning out plaque that leads to brain aging challenges, but also you're having your dreams, 3, 4, 5 dreams. And when you're talking about sleep, and you've had Matthew on the show, and you've talked about why we sleep. The other thing is we could spend probably about 20 years of our life dreaming, like sleeping, which means about 3 to 5 years pure dreaming, which is incredible. And those dreams can be a big resource for us in terms of creativity, invention. Mary Shelley came up with Frankenstein in her dream. Paul McCartney came up with the song Yesterday in his dream. Jack Nicklaus, I remember, 1964? He was going through a little bit of a slump where he was shooting high 70s, and he had a dream of shifting in his dream. It was so vivid. During a turn, he changed his grip just slightly in his dream, and the next morning he was back on track, doing like mid 60s, in terms of his score. So we have the periodic table came to a chemist in his dream. Elias Howe created the sewing machine in his dream. So what are we dreaming about? But we forget them when we wake up.
Or ignore them.
Right, ignore them.
99% of the people have no process of remembering, acknowledging, recording their dreams, right?
Right, and I feel like that's another untapped resource for people. So one of the things, the reason why when people wake up in the morning on my not to do is not pick up the phone, because I spend a few minutes just recording my dream while it's fresh, or reflecting on my dreams instead of being hijacked by external technology. Because you have to really, when I was saying your brain is this deletion device, we have to control the input and where it's coming from. And most people, sometimes we get mentally lazy. And I can understand that. We suffer from decision fatigue because we've all had the experience where we had a really tough day, and we might be at a restaurant or looking at a takeout menu, and we don't know what we want to eat because we've used up all our decisions throughout that day.
Right. And we do have a finite number of decisions every day, or at least intelligent decisions.
This is true.
Okay.
And I've had this conversation with doctors. We just had Dr. Oz on the show, and we were talking about how, traveling from country to country, how you maintain your mental alertness. And we were talking about how even off camera, how doctors, if you're going to get surgery, you want to make sure you're one of those first couple patients, because there's an immense amount of resources, mental and physical resources going in to that procedure, and you don't want somebody who's depleted.
I had a hernia surgery a few years ago, and I really wanted to tell the guy, look, have a quiet night, get some sleep.
Exactly.
I thought that would maybe insult him, but
I heard, I don't know if this is true, but when Clinton, when Obama asked Clinton about which some of your gold piece of advice, he was like, Clinton said, don't make a decision when you're sleep deprived, an important decision, because that's how important sleep is. And so sleep is it's one of the most important life advice, is to prioritize sleep. And even if you and I were talking about this again before camera, is we know what to do. And then some people have challenges with sleep apnea, with insomnia, but just being sensitized to it just is similar to remembering names. We teach many different methods on how to walk into a room, meet 20 strangers, and leave saying goodbye using their name, every single one of them. But just being sensitized to, hey, just a reminder, it's important to remember someone's name. Because how are you going to show somebody you're going to care for their business, their future, their finances, their family, their health, whatever it is you're selling them or offering them, if you don't care just to remember who they are, right? We've all heard the name is the sweetest sound to a person's ears. We've all read How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. But it's this timeless advice, but we're not doing it. Same thing with getting a good night's sleep. It's just if you prioritize it, even if you're not using any techniques, which their techniques are plentiful. We've done 4 episodes on how to optimize your sleep, everything from the temperature of the room to the blackout curtains to all these, all this great tips. But if you make it important, then you're just going to naturally do it. And that's why I think it's important to go back to when you are stressed, we usually think, what do I need to do? You can even go back one level above that and saying, instead of asking yourself, what do I need to do at this moment? Something happened, some kind of some kind of fire in your life. Maybe instead of asking, what do I need to do right now? Maybe first take a step back and ask, who do I need to be right now? Who do I need to be, right? The formula is be, do, have, share. That's a syntax of success, right? But a lot of people want to go right to the have part. Okay. But maybe it's not having, and we've seen multiple studies on someone who wins the lottery. They go right to the have part. They have millions of pounds, and then what happens after a certain amount of years? They go back to where they were, or most people go less. Yeah. And because they have millions of pounds or dollars, but they were never being like a multimillionaire or millionaire, right? So you don't want to put the cart before the horse.
So be, do, have,
and then share it. Because I think that's the formula. I think you learn so you can earn, so you can return. You learn, earn, and then return. And you don't return because you don't give to get. I think you give because it's who you are. Because ultimately that's what's going to make us feel more fulfilled when we're making progress, and then we're also making some kind of contribution to the people around us.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like the Gates and their foundation and how they're so intent on giving it back and making a big difference. And
so it's not just about making $1, but also making a difference. And there's nothing wrong with making money, but you could also make meaning also. Like I don't get as excited about not $1 billion, but 1 billion brains really motivates me. And to have them light up, because who knows, someone listening to my show or yours and they're watching on their phone and they're from a third world country and they learn something, some kind of insight or inspiration, they become the next Malala, right? The next Oprah, the next, they cure cancer. I mean, who knows, the untapped resource of the collective minds of this planet. That's why the work I do with individuals, but also organizations. Because if you could do a mass upgrade, because we upgrade our phones more than we upgrade our minds. And that's why I love everyone who's watching this, even at this point, especially at this point, because they've self-selected, saying, "Hey, I'm going to invest in the most important thing in the world, which is myself, my own personal growth." And I think the mother or the father of all personal development and performance is, I think it's learning. Because if you can learn how to learn, you can apply that towards anything.